Hi everyone! Welcome to the pool lesson for today, or for the week, I guess. For those of you that watch me every week, guess what's happening right now? My neighbor's cutting his grass. I'll wait for a few viewers and then we'll get started. Today's pool lesson is an exciting one. I'm going to drop some pool nerd knowledge on you. It's about algae, how to prevent it, and what to do if you get it. So go ahead and share this out. My sister's in the pool listening to me. Hi, Amy. Everyone, this pool lesson is going to be about algae, everything we hate. I'm going to describe the different types of algae, what to do to prevent it, what to do if you get it. Hi, Kurt. We'll just wait a little bit longer to get a couple more people on here, and then I'll start going over everything. If you haven't watched one of our pool lessons before, welcome. All of our pool lessons are on our Facebook page. That's the Valley Pool and Spa Facebook page. I'm Kristin from Valley Pools. I have a lot of lessons. We started about a month and a half, 2 months ago. So everything from what to do after a storm, how to take care of your filter, what to do to prevent leaks, and if you get a leak in your pool. And like I said, today is going to be all about algae, the green nasty stuff you get in your pool, or it could be different colors, but we'll go over that soon. Hi everyone. Make sure you share out to your friends so they can join in and watch too. And if you have any questions while I'm going through everything, feel free to ask questions as we go. You never know, I might end up giving a prize at the end to anyone who makes a comment or asks a question while we're going through the lesson. Hopefully it doesn't rain on me. It's really sunny this way, but it's really dark that direction. All right, looks like everyone's getting in here and they're ready. Val, the whole way from Maryland. Hi, how are you? Pam made it on time this time. Stacy got her prize. She was the winner of 2 weeks ago. She was our lucky winner, so she got a Valley Pools prize package sent to her in the mail. Hi, Carla. All right, everyone, today's pool lesson is going to be about algae. Now, again, I forgot my tripod at work, so, John's here. I was afraid we were going to miss you, John. We need Denny and we need you're in the pool. Pam's here, Stacy's here, the whole crowd's here. Invite your friends. The pool's warm. We'll have a little mini pool party. All right, guys, so let's get started. So a lot of you know algae as the green stuff in your pool. Sometimes your whole pool turns green. Sometimes it's just on the walls and the floor. What algae is since the green is the most common, we'll go over that first. Algae is a type of plant, and it's technically called chlorophyta. Didn't know I knew that, huh? We're going to get real pool nerdy in this one. So chlorophyta is called that because the green comes from chlorophyll. The cicadas are keeping me out of the pool from Val. Well, Kathy said that she's glad she caught this one because hers is getting kind of green. We're going to go over how to prevent it and how to catch it. And I don't know what to do about cicadas, Val, but we're going to keep going on here. The green algae in your pool loves warm water. So the warmer your water gets, the more algae bloom you could have. Now, algae can also be in your pool without blooming. When it blooms, it turns the color. So when you see the green, that means that the algae has already bloomed. I don't know if you've ever felt the sides of your pool wall and it's slimy. That is called biofilm, and algae loves to live in biofilm. So what we're gonna do now, I'm going all over the place because you guys are just going crazy in these comments. John, if you follow the steps to prevent everything, then you should be okay. All right, so we have the green algae. Green algae, most common. We also have yellow algae, which is a rare form of algae that we don't really get in the Pittsburgh area, although it has happened. Yellow algae, also known as mustard algae, it's gonna look like pollen, which sometimes it is. Some people do think that pollen is mustard algae, or it can look like sand in the bottom of your pool. It sometimes has a brownish tint to it as well. It is not slimy. It's actually more of a sawdust kind of effect to it. And if you would get that, we can treat it. However, everything that has touched your pool also needs to be treated. Bathing suits, rafts, pool furniture, things like that. Normally what we recommend is throwing everything in the pool and treating the pool all at once. That way everything gets treated at once. Oh, the party can start. Kristin Fleming's here. So we have green algae and we have yellow algae. There are many, many different types of algae, but I'm going to go over the three most common ones. Black algae is kind of nasty. It doesn't look like a plant. It doesn't really float. You'll see it on the walls. It really likes shady areas. So black algae will normally be in the dead spots of your pool. What a dead spot is: anywhere you are not getting circulation in your pool water. So normally behind ladders, if you have a deep end in the deep corners of your liner, we're going to go over how to properly circulate your water a little bit later. But black algae also has feet, like kind of like roots that stick into your vinyl liner or your plaster, and it's very hard to clean. You literally have to scrub it and brush it really hard to get the outer coating. It has like an outer shell on it to get the outer coating off, so then you can treat the water and the algae will die from shock and some algaecide. So we have the green algae, which is the most common, which most of you have dealt with or will deal with in the future. Hopefully not, but green algae is the most common. Then we have the yellow algae and we have black algae. All of these are treated similar. However, the yellow and the black, you do have to give the effort a little, you have to give a little more effort to get rid of it. So we went over dead spots. We went over biofilm. Let's go over how to clean and take care of an algae bloom if you get one. Behind me, you can see my pool does not have algae, but I will not show you my hot tub because it's been covered in the sun, and don't tell anyone, but it does have algae. I'm gonna have to drain and refill. If you do have a hot tub, right now is the perfect time to drain and refill because the weather is changing to hotter weather. So drain it, clean it out real good, and refill it. The first thing you want to do when you have an algae bloom, your pool started to turn green. Now, I will tell you that if your pool has turned a lime green, like super, super neon green, almost looks like Mountain Dew, that's not algae. Most of the time, that is a metal issue. Definitely take a water sample to any of our 8 locations and get it tested. And you don't want to treat that as an algae problem because you could end up with a lot more issues like staining and things like that. So with the green algae, the first thing you want to do is brush all of the walls and floor. I'm not talking about just taking your vacuum and brushing. You want to get in the pool and actually brush the walls, brush the floor. I brought a couple tools with me today so you could see. This is one of the scrub brushes that we sell at the store. This is a little more coarse than your normal sponge. I don't know if you guys can really see that up there, but this is perfectly fine for your vinyl liners. It will not damage it. However, it does have a little bit more roughness to it. So if you do have black algae or even the green algae, you can go ahead and get that off of the liner. We also have, I know I've showed this to you before, the Duramits or Ultra Mitts. These also have the harder, coarser sponge on the mitt. These are awesome to make the kids think that they're like playing a game, but they're really cleaning the pool. Get a couple of these and tell them to go to town. They will clean up the walls and the floor like nobody's business. We also have the Mighty Feet, which you can get them for their feet. I showed that in a previous video. Clean up the floors and the wall so you can break down all of the algae off of the pool wall. I also have this little gadget that a lot of people look past it because they don't know what it is. This guy here. I don't know if you've seen these in our stores. They run about, I think they're about $6. You can attach your vacuum hose to this side and your telescopic pole to this side. And this can get in all of the corners. So if you have an in-ground pool, you can get in the seams of the liner, get in the corners. If you have a tight space behind your ladder, you can get in all the crevices and everything with this little guy here. You can see it's a pointed brush. So it'll vacuum, it'll brush. You can do double duty with this. And like I said, these are like $6 or $7. Awesome tool to have. Especially if you have in-ground steps, you can use this on the steps as well. Okay, so we have the sponge, we have the Dermit, and we have the little corner brush. So say it with me, you need to brush the pool first. Brush the pool. Our next step is going to be to vacuum. Once you have knocked everything off of the pool liner and the pool wall and the pool floor, you can go ahead and vacuum. You're going to vacuum all of that nasty stuff into your filter. Here's a tip. Make sure your filter is clean before you start vacuuming. And you might say, well, why should my filter be clean? I'm just going to make it dirty again. The reason for this is because you will have the best suction. You will also be able to keep cleaning the pool without having to backwash. You won't have to wash your cartridge in the middle of your algae troubleshooting. So it's always the best thing to do is make sure that your filter is clean before you start scrubbing all of the algae and getting rid of it. So we vacuumed the pool. We've brushed the pool first, vacuumed the pool. The third step is going to be to test your water. Normally we would say go ahead and shock. You don't want to shock unless the water is balanced. You want to test it, which you can always bring it to Valley and we'll test it for you for free. Or you can test it with your strips. Just make sure that your pH and your alkalinity is on point. And you also want to look at your stabilizer. Kathy Ringer has a sand filter. Well, Kathy, with a sand filter, you want to make sure to get it clean. Normally you start with fresh sand at the beginning of every year. That's kind of a rule of thumb that I go by, because why are you keeping that nasty sand from year to year? You might as well just start with a fresh tank every year. And if you have problems getting the sand out of the tank, you can just give our service guys a call. When they close the pool, they can always empty the sand out for you. It's new. Okay, so you have fresh sand. So if you do have an algae bloom, then there is, I actually didn't bring any up with me today, but you're going to use a chemical filter cleaner. How you clean a sand filter is you put the filter cleaner in the skimmer, let it sit overnight inside of the tank, and then you'll backwash it all out. Pam, with an earth filter, you're just going to backwash and start with fresh earth. Make sure you have the correct amount of earth in your filter. There is a label on the front of most filter tanks. If there is not, you can always send us a picture and we can tell you how much earth you should be putting in the tank after each backwash. We also have a filter cleaning checklist at all of the stores that we can print out and give you, that gives you step by step what to do to clean your filter no matter what it is. Okay, so we have brushed, we have vacuumed, we have tested the water. Now we get to shock. So with an algae bloom, you want to do a super shock. If you normally use 2 bags of shock every week, then you want to use 4 bags to kill the algae. If you're not sure how much to use, again, you can always ask your pool experts at Valley, and we can walk you through on how much and what kind of shock to use. The best kind of shock to use to kill algae is a calcium hypochlorite. So you want to make sure that you use the kind that you pre-mix or you have to put in at night. A non-stabilized shock is normally the best kind to kill algae. And if you can't put it in at night, then putting it in during the day will help kill algae, but it works best at night when the sun's not out. And I think it's actually starting to rain. I just felt a drop. So I'm going to stick it out with you guys. I have an umbrella above me. We'll be fine. So again, brushing, vacuuming, testing, shocking. The next thing we're going to do after you shock the water, you may end up getting, now you're going to do all of this with the filter on. You want to make sure the filter's running the whole time. The next thing you're going to do after shocking is you're going to have sometimes the water turns cloudy, because when you kill the green algae, it's going to turn white and form a cloud in your pool, which is fine. That means you killed the green algae. That's fine. You don't have to panic. You just need to keep an eye on your filter, babysit it, make sure it's clean, make sure the pressure's good. You may have to clean your filter again. After you shock, you want to put in a heavy dose of enzyme. Now, for those of you that use the Pool Weekly, I know I've showed it on many other videos. You can go ahead and use that. That is a concentrated enzyme. Also, we normally use this to open and close, hence the name Open and Close. But the Caribbean Blue Open and Close is a concentrated enzyme that we recommend to use whenever you do have an algae bloom. What that is, the concentrated enzyme likes to eat up all of the algae, and it keeps it from sticking to the walls. It keeps it from sticking from in the inside of your skimmer, and it helps collect more in your filter without coming back into the pool. Dave says that the skimmer socks work great. Yes, they do, which we are going to touch on that here in a minute. When you get that cloud in your pool, you can go ahead and use clarifier as well as the enzyme. Make sure you pay attention to the label instructions or the instructions that your Valley expert gives you. You don't want to overdose on a clarifier. You could end up making the water cloudier than it already is. So put in 1 dose of your recommended clarifier and wait 48 hours before adding another dose. Okay, guys, so the reason why I'm doing the algae pool lesson today is because we have had so many people already come in with algae problems, and not only algae problems, but chlorine demand issues, phosphate issues. It is a prime year for all of these problems because of how much pollen is in the air. One of my friends just posted on his Facebook page about how he comes to Valley and it's like a doctor's appointment because he knows that his pool has something wrong and he doesn't know what it is. But it is, the pollen this year is just wreaking havoc on everyone's pools. So we're going to teach you how to prevent getting algae and getting the chlorine demand and getting all of these issues that the pollen is creating in your pool. The first step for prevention is with your solar covers. Do not leave them on for more than 48 hours. Try to take it off at least once a day if you can. What happens when you keep a solar cover on your pool is all of that water and heat stays stagnant. The water cannot circulate properly, and algae loves heat. So your algae just, you incubate it whenever you have the solar cover on. So try to take the solar cover off so the water can breathe and your water can circulate properly. And John has a crazy question, and I am so scared of what it is. What is it, John? Hit me with it. Let's see what John's question is. Oh, man. Carla, that is one of the reasons why we're doing these pool lessons this year. So many people come up with these issues and then they don't know what to do. And instead of you looking it up and getting the wrong information, I wanted to make sure that I gave you the right information, gave you the tips and tricks and tools to make sure that you can actually use your pool for family time instead of wasting time cleaning and scrubbing and doing all the dirty, nasty stuff to get it going. All right, well, while John is typing his questions, I'm going to go over the other preventions. In your weekly maintenance, depending on what kind of chemical system you use, you'll use an algaecide. For regular chlorine customers, we have the Forever Clear algaecide. A lot of you use this weekly. If you have a salt pool or you have any kind of water features like water fountains, waterfalls, anything like that, you go with the Algae Defense 60. This is a non-foaming algaecide. I know we've gone over that before, but this is for pools that either are on salt. You can also use these if you have a heater. This is a nice algaecide for that as well. Now, guys, the reason why it's called Algae Defense 60, you want to take a special look at these algaecides because the main ingredient is an ethylene dichloride. Crazy, I know. But it's at 60%. I don't know if you can see the ingredients there. That main product is 60. It's a 60%, which is the higher, the better. A lot of people will say, well, I can get algaecide at, a big box store and it's only $5. Well, take a look at what the main ingredient is, that ethylene. I forgot what it's called now. The ethylene dichloride. Yes. And take a look at that and see what the number is, because a lot of times it's only at 10%. That's why it's so cheap. So if you use an algaecide weekly, you can keep the algae at bay. The other thing that you can do if you don't use chlorine is most chemical systems do come with an algaecide. A lot of our customers who are on the Frog Leap, they use what's called BAM or All Out. And All Out is a 90-day algaecide that they normally only put in once or twice a season. Let's see. Other prevention. One of the preventers. If you brush your pool weekly, not just vacuum, but brush it. Get an 18-inch wall brush. We have them in all shapes, colors, sizes, you name it. If you've seen a maintenance aisle at any of the Valley Pool and Spa stores, you know that we have the brushes, and they come in all different price ranges as well. They start out at $6 and go up. So just get yourself a brush, go ahead and put the kids to work, brush up the pool every week, especially after pool parties. Christy Lynn has a question. If I send you a picture, can you identify what kind of algae we have? I can try. Normally, I can tell by the picture what it is. But yeah, go ahead. You can send it over. Dave wants to know, does the Pristine lineup have an algaecide? Actually, the whole entire Pristine line is an algae preventative. A lot of algae killers, like the knockouts, the Caribbean blue knockouts, and the, let's see, I think there's one that's called, no, that doesn't have it in it. Anyway, I think Banish has it in it. Yes. The BioGuard Banish. They have a copper in it, a chelated copper, and that is what kills algae. So the Pristine Blue line already has it in the blue, and I think in, is it in anything else other than the blue? So you don't, that's why you don't need an extra Algaecide. Just so you know. There's another Valley employee in my pool right now. They're enjoying their day off. Is there?
Pure works great for Pristine Blue.
Oh, NZ Pure. If you don't already use NZ Pure for Pristine, definitely pick that up. That is the concentrated enzyme, like the open and close. It works great with the Pristine chemicals. Is there a preferred type or brand for above ground pools? Carla, for Algaecide, let me know what you're talking about there. What else do we have? Do I still need to brush the walls if I have a robot? Dana, yes. The brushes on the bottom of a robot aren't the bristles that get in the pores of the liner. They do clean the pool very well. Mine has a lot of brushes on it. I don't know where it is right now, but I think it's in the middle somewhere. It has brushes on the front and the back, and yeah, but it's not going to be able to get into the pool pores of the vinyl liner, or if you have fiberglass or concrete pool, you still have those like little bumps and things like that. You want to use a bristle brush to get in and get that all out. All right, I'm gonna stop saying big prevention, circulation in your pool. We talked about having your filter clean. Cleaning your filter is a huge thing for circulation. I personally just cleaned my filter 2 days ago, and I wish I would have taken a picture for you guys to see. That is big with all the pollen that we're getting right now. Filters are going to be clogged up a lot faster. We normally recommend that you chemically clean your filter once at the beginning of the season or at the end of the season, and once around the middle of the season, which is around the 4th of July. However, with all of the pollen that has been in the air, you may end up having to clean it more this season. So be prepared for that. If you see that your pressure is starting to go down in your pool, it's time to clean the filter. Get an extra cartridge so you can swap them out and chemically clean them. If you do have sand and you have never used Sand Assist, look into that. Sand Assist is a powder that you put inside of your skimmer, and it helps your sand filter out smaller particles. So you're going to keep the pollen and that algae and everything in your sand tank instead of it circulating in your pool and creating more issues. Okay, so if your filter's clean, you should have great circulation, right? Not always true. Your return, which is the jet that pushes the water back into the pool, needs to be facing down and away from your skimmer. This is very, very important, especially in larger pools. You want to make sure that the water that is coming from the filter is pushing down and away from the skimmer. That way you have full circulation in the pool. You don't have the dead spots that we talked about earlier. You still want to make sure that you brush behind your liner. I'm going to see if I can turn you around. I have a lot of things on my deck right now, but you can see there's barely any circulation behind my pool ladder. So you want to make sure that you brush and get into those areas there. Here is a plethora of different algaecides. So I think Carla was asking me what algaecide you should use. Depending on what other chemicals you use, we can recommend the best algaecide for you. I have algae killers and algaecides here. The difference between an algaecide and an algae killer is an algae killer normally has a copper value in it that you don't get in an algaecide, which you don't want to use an algae killer all of the time because that's where you end up having too much copper in the pool, which could cause staining, and then you end up with the metal issues like we talked about earlier with the pools that look like Mountain Dew. The other prevention is shocking at night. Unless you're using a Simply Shock and Swim or a non-chlorine shock, you want to make sure you shock at night. The reason for this is because most shock is not stabilized, which means it doesn't have any protection from the UV rays. So whenever you shock during the day, if it's not a stabilized shock, then it could be taken out by the UV rays of the sun, and then it's like you never shock the pool. So you want to make sure you shock at night, shock often. Even if your chlorine is high, you can also use a non-chlorine shock. That is going to oxidize the water, get all of the nitrogen and all of the bad things out of the pool that you don't want in there. We're also going to keep the solar cover off of the pool. We're going to use an algaecide weekly. We're going to brush and vacuum weekly. Having a pool is like having a car. You want to make sure that you take care of it. You can't just put water in it and expect it to, live a long life. You want to make sure that you take care of the oil, you change the windshield wipers, you have to change the brakes, things like that. Same thing with the pool. You want to make sure that you brush it, you vacuum it, you make sure the filter's running right. You want to clean it and make sure it is balanced. By balanced, I mean the pH, alkalinity, calcium, stabilizer, all of that is in range. Making all of those in range make a clean and happy and healthy pool that your family and friends can all enjoy, and you can focus on having more memories and less work. All right, guys, so I'm going to give away a prize. The first person that pops up giving me the correct answer is going to win a Valley prize pack. Sorry, Stacy. You're not eligible for this one. We'll get you in another one. How often... John just asked me how often should we take our pool water sample into Valley. That's not the question for the prize, but I will answer that. We recommend that you bring it in at least once a month. If you're having issues, you may have to bring it in a couple more times than once a month. If you have an algae issue and you clear it up, or if you're having a chlorine demand issue, then bring it in once a week. You can actually bring your water samples in as much as you want. However, we do recommend once a month just to keep a record that you are balancing the water in case you would have any issues with manufacturer warranties or anything like that. Our system keeps that in its history, so we can, have your back on that. So John, once a month. Okay, guys, here is the question for the prize. John wants to ask another question. Go ahead, John. You can ask it, but I'm going to go with the prize right now. First person to answer this, which means they pop up with their answer first. Katie's going to be my judge. You over there? What is the first thing you do if you have an algae bloom? Who can tell me? We went over it quite a few times. While I'm waiting for an answer. Who got it, Kate?
My phone died.
Oh, her phone died. I see Amy Kaminsky got it first. She actually gave me the whole spiel. She said, scrub it. I would have taken scrub or brush. Vacuum, test the water, shock, clean the filter. Good job, Amy. Go ahead and message me your address and I'll send you out a Valley Pools prize pack. John's other question was, what about people using oils? John, you're doing the right thing by having the sun sorbs in the pool. For those of you that don't know what a sun sorb is, it is it looks like a sponge. It's white. It's in the shape of a sun. We also have them sometimes in shapes of seashells or gators or bugs. They're sometimes called a scum bug. What those do are they attract the oils and like makeup, lotions, things like that to them instead of going into your filter. So you can always float one of those in your skimmer. It's just an extra filtration for you. So all of those oils and things aren't sticking to the walls and the pool. Those are also awesome in hot tubs. If you have a hot tub and you always get like a bathtub ring around, you can use those in a hot tub as well. All right. Clean the filter, go to Valley. That is, Elena, that is a good answer. Go to Valley Pools if you have an algae bloom. Bring us a water sample. Test the water. John, they are amazing. Those scum bugs and sun sorbs are amazing. We always recommend that you put a couple in your pool at wintertime as well, so it can suck up all of the organics that get into the water at during the wintertime. And the socks. We went over the socks before. With the pollen this year, they're called filter savers. They're like filter socks. They come in a pack of 5. They're very, very, I don't want to call them cheap, but they're not very expensive at all. Pack of 5, they are reusable. They're washable. What they are is a skimmer sock. It goes inside of your skimmer basket. So it collects all of that very small debris and silt that you might get in your pool from pollen and bugs and things like that. All right, guys, so I hope you learned something today. I hope that none of you get algae, but if you do, now you know what to do. And as always, you can bring your water sample to Valley. And I hope you all join me next week. I don't know what our lesson's going to be, so you're going to have to follow us on Facebook and keep an eye out. And I just want to thank you all for watching this whole time. And congratulations to Amy for winning this pool lessons prize. So everyone, bring your water sample to Valley. Make sure your water's tested. And I will see you next week. Thanks, everyone.